Hello guys, I am Umair Nazim and welcome to Let's Code. In the previous video, we talked about what is the difference between for loop and for each loop. With this, we also covered some more topics in a very detail that was related to with arrays and some other topics, functions and something like this. But in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you what is the difference between array and the array list. So there are these two are the different topics. One is the simple array that we deal with the previous videos, and one is the array list. What is this one? So as you know that when we want to create an array, so here I'm going to show you how can we create a simple array. So for that one, here I have written the string with this symbol. This symbol is will represent that we are going to create an array. After that, I have to give a name to my array. For example, I'm going to write here cities here. Okay, and after that I have to specify here new string. And so as you can see that now if we write this structure, so here it is giving some error. Why? Because we must have to specify the size of our array. So here when I want, so for example, I want to write here simply 4. Okay, now what it means that I have defined an array with the name cities whose dimension, whose capacity is 4. So more than 4 variables, more than 4 data it cannot store. So it means I have to store just the data until the 4. So now, for example, if I want to store something here in the cities, so how can I do this one? For that one, simply I will write here the name of my array, that is cities. Okay, then I will specify the indexes. So as you know that in the previous videos I have already explained that the array's indexes will start from 0. So in the 0 index, I mean the first index, but with the arrays we count that one as a 0. So in the 0 index, I want to store a value that is as a string. For example, city, first city I want to store here Islamabad. Okay, the first city is Islamabad. And now the second city I want, so again I will write my array name cities, and now I will specify the index. Now the index is 1. Okay, so here in the second index I want to store, for example, Istanbul. Okay, so here I have written the Istanbul. So in the third, what I want, so in the second I want to write, for example, Ankara. And now in the third index, so in the third index, what it means that the fourth value. Okay, in other words, you can also say, so this one is cities, and now in the third index I want to store, for example, Lahore. Okay, so you can say that 2 cities name I have taken from Turkey and 2 cities name I have taken from Pakistan. So here, as you can see, here I have stored these 4 values within my array in a simple array. And one more method is, instead of writing this one 0, 1, 2, 3 index, you can also specify these things in a direct way. So how can we do it? For the direct way, simply I can copy this string here. Okay, so here in a new line. So now I'm showing you with a direct method, but that is the same. Okay, there is no difference, just we will put the values in a direct way. So I can write here, for example, cities 2. I will give a different name, cities 2, and then I will create these 2 curly brackets. So within these 2 curly brackets I can put the values, for example, Islamabad. So here I write my first value, here I write the second value, that is Istanbul, and here is my third value, that is Ankara. Okay, and here is my fourth value, that is Lahore. Okay, so as you can see that this thing, it is also containing the 4 variables, the 4 values here. Okay, this one is, sorry, the variable, these are the data. Okay, this one is the data, the 4 values it is containing, and here it is also containing the 4 values, but here just I use with a different method, you can say, and that one is a different method, but the thing is same. Okay, this Islamabad is also considered 0 index, this one is 1 index, this one is second index, and this one is third index. Now this is the structure of our simple arrays. Now I want to show you what is the structure of array list and why we use array list. I will tell you in a very detailed this thing. So for writing the array list, first you have to write here array list here. Okay, now the second thing, you have to put these two diamond you can say diamond shape brackets or something like this, whatever you want to call it. So within these two diamond brackets here, a diamond symbol, sorry, you can say diamond operator, not brackets. So with these two diamond operator, you have to specify your data type, like what kind of data you want to enter. Now I want to enter the string. For that reason I will use here string. Okay, and after that I have to give some name to my array list. So that name could be anything, whatever you want. For example, if I want to write here city, city, after that again I have to create here, write here new, and then you can say that again I have to write here array list. Okay, array list, again I have to use these two diamond operators, and then I have to use these two parentheses. Okay, but now as you can see, when I write this structure, we are facing some error. So when I will move to this error, so the first thing is you have to import an array list library. When I will click on the first option, as you can see here, we have successfully imported the library for the array list. Okay, this one is the structure of array list. Now guys, one important thing that I want to explain here, actually when you are dealing with the simple arrays, I mean these arrays are also, you can say these arrays, these both are similar. Okay, when you are dealing with the simple arrays, actually the first thing is that the size, like whatever size you will specify, after that you cannot change that size. Okay, so you can say that the size you cannot change here, and after that the size is fixed. The second thing is that with the simple arrays, you cannot store, you cannot make any change. For example, if you want to remove some value from the simple array, you cannot remove. If you want to add some value, you cannot add it. Okay, in the simple arrays. But in the array list is actually more flexible. With the array list you can add more values, you can remove some values, and one important thing also is that like for the array list, there is no limit for the size. It can grow and it can shrink automatically, so you don't need to specify any kind of the array size. Okay, so I'm going to remove this one. Okay, this one is, I'm going to remove this structure, and let's see. So one more thing is that here, this string, I have defined this string, that is a string. Actually the data type is a string. So in the previous variants of the Java, you must have to write, specify again the data type here in this diamond bracket. But in the new variants of the Java, they remove this thing because we already defined it here. So that's why. Now how can I add something in the array list? So for that reason I have to write here city, the name of the array list, city, then I will use a dot. So as you can see, when I use here this dot, and you can see there are different methods that array list can provide you. So one is this dot. So when I will use this dot, now here I have to enter my value that I want to use. So here I will use Islamabad, this one Islamabad. Okay, so now this one will be stored in the 0th index. This Islamabad will be stored in the 0th index. Okay, and the index size and the index numbering is similar like the simple arrays. Okay, so now again I want to write here, I want to add the second value. So for the second value I will use here city dot add. Now I want to use here want to store here Istanbul. Okay, now this Istanbul, this Islamabad will be stored in the 0th index. This Istanbul will be stored in the 1st index. Okay, now again I want to add, for example here I want to add the 3 values. Okay, so here I will use the 3rd values, for example Ankara. Okay, so here I use this one Ankara. So now here until now we have understand that the size is, you can say, not limited here in the array list. Okay, but array list also provide you more functionalities, like for example if you want to remove something, if you want to add something, this is the functionality of array list. So for the simple array you can say that, so I'm going to print here something So with this I can print simply okay, this one, like the static sign, okay, to make some difference. So now for example, if I want to get the values of this one city2, so how can I get this the values of this simple array? So I can write here, for example, system out, and I will write cities dot, so sorry, not dot here, cities, then I will specify the index, which index value I want to get. Now I want to get the value of 0th index, that is cities2. Okay, so now when I will run this one, and you will see, so in the 0th index we have Islamabad value, and that value is printed here. Similar is a structure here, but little bit different, okay, for the array list. So for the array list, if you want to get that value, then you have to write here your name of the array list, that is city cty. Okay, so I will use here cty, and after that you have to use here dot get. Okay, so to get something you have to use here dot get. Okay, so here I will give the index. So on the 0 index, if I want to get the value on the 0 index, so now let me run this one and you will see Islamabad is written. Okay, so with the simple arrays you can say that you don't need to write this method get, but when you are dealing with the array list you have to use this get to get the output. Okay, if I want to get the index of 2 here, then again I will use here 2. Okay, now in the index of 2, as you can see, this one is 0 index Islamabad, Istanbul is 1 index, and on the 2 index it is Ankara. So I will use here 2. Okay, now one method is this one, this method. And now let me show you how can you remove something. So for example, if I want to remove something, so let me remove this one also. So for example, if I want to remove something from this array, simple array cities2, so we will see can we remove it or not. So for example, if I use cities dot, so sorry, cities2 dot. Okay, so when I press this one dot here, as you can see we have different methods here, but within this method we don't have any method to remove an element. Why? Because the simple arrays, the size is fixed. You cannot decrease or you cannot increase the size. So it means whatever values you have placed within the simple array, you cannot change them. Okay, so we cannot so it means in the simple array we cannot remove anything, but within, you can say, the array list you can remove. So here if I write city dot, okay, so as you can see here we have different methods. So city dot clear, so if you want to clear the whole array list, you will click on this clear and it will clear the all entries. So for example, I want to remove, here I will use R, and here you can see, so here there are two methods. One is by the index, it means city.remove, you will pass some index, it will remove that index. One is object, so it means you will write the name of that variable, the name of that data, so it will remove that one. So let me show you. With this index I will say that, so remove value from the index 1. Okay, and now let's see. So when I remove this index from the index 1 and system.o, okay, so now we will see, as you can see, this one is Islamabad is on the 0 index, Istanbul was on the first index, and Ankara was on the second index. But now let's see, we will see what is the value on the first index. Okay, city dot get. Okay, now on the first index, what is the value? Let's see. So as you can see on the first index, now the value is Ankara, so it means that this Istanbul has removed from this array list. Okay, so this one is the method how can you remove something from the array list. And one more thing, now if you want to add something, again you can use the same structure like city.add and you will add your value here. Now one more important thing is that your array list can provide you a more flexible thing is, so for example, if you want to print something here in the simple array, so to print something in the simple array, again you have to use for loop or for each loop, and you have to iterate it for many times. So for example, if I'm going to write here this one and I write here cities, okay, this one is the cities 2, and now let's see if I want to run this one, and let's see will it give us any. So as you can see, it is giving us some garbage value. Maybe it is like you can say the address of the memory or something like this. But when I will write the same structure, so I can copy this one and I will remove, okay, I like this. Okay, so when I will get the values here, so instead of this cities2, I will write city. So when I simply write this city, when I simply want to print this city, and let's see what value it will give us. So as you can see that we get the value Islamabad, Istanbul and Ankara. So that is one more flexible way. You can say that is a good property of array list. And one more thing is you can also replace the values here. Like within the simple array you cannot replace the value, but if you want to replace the value with array list, you can also replace some value here. For example, you can write here city dot for this one you have to write here city dot set. Okay, you write here set, and now as you can see, first it is showing us what is the index, which index you want to replace, and what element you want to enter. So I will write here in the 0 index there is Islamabad, and replace the 0 index with what? Replace the 0 index with, for example, Karachi, for example. Okay, Karachi. Okay, now let's see. Now our 0 index will replace the value Islamabad with Karachi, and let's see the result here. So here when I write city, okay, print it, and so as you can see now Islamabad has replaced with the value Karachi. Okay, now this one is the you can say one more advantage of using array list. Now one more thing I want to show you here, but one also thing is that guys, you can also use for each loop and for loop to get the values for the array list. But in the next video I will tell you how can we get the user input by using the for each loop or for loop, and how can we get the output. Okay, in the next video I will make a separate video to get input, to give input and get the output, okay, with array list. So for example, if you want to get the size of this array, so how can you measure the size of this array? Simply I can remove this one, and to get the size I will write here cities2 dot. Okay, when I use this dot, so as you can see here is the length. Okay, so for the simple array you have to use this length. Okay, so when you will use this length, and when I'm going to print this one, so it means the length is 4. Okay, because 1 2 3 4, so there are 4 values. Okay, but how can we get the size or the length of this array list? So for that one, simply I will use here system out. Within this one I will use my array list name, and when I will put this dot, okay, so when I will put this dot, but this time we cannot use the length. So to get the size of an array list we have to use here size. Okay, so one difference you can also see with this length, you know, we do not put this like parentheses, because length is not a method, but this dot size is a method, so that's why we have to put these two brackets here. Okay, so when I will get this size, and it will return me the size. Okay, so as you can see here I replace this one, so that's why it will replace with this Islamabad, and it will still the size is 3. Okay, now let me remove, for example, this one, and let's see now again. Okay, as you can see that for the simple array the size is 4, for the other array list the size is 3.
So guys, that's it for today. If you like the video, subscribe my channel, write your comments, give your opinion and share it with your friends. See you in the next video with a new topic. Take care.